welcome to the Space City Rock Riders podcast. I am your captain, your host, Mr. Corey. And today we have a special guest. I know I use special guests a lot, but today's guest is really special because I'm kind of feeling in the giving mode today on some information and being a little selfless today. This gentleman here is a dear friend of mine. If y'all know the saying that if you're the smartest person in your group of friends, you need to get new friends. Well, this gentleman here, anytime I'm in the room with him, I know that I'm not the smartest man in the room. I got my brother, Joseph Robbins from the Joe Robbins CPA practice here on the podcast today. What's up with it, bro?
What's up, man? How's it going, bro?
It's going all right, man. I appreciate you for coming on today.
No problem, man. Appreciate your modesty.
Oh man, that was some truthfulness in that, man. I thrive every time I see all the different achievements that you have. I thrive to accomplish the similar goals, or use you as an example to as inspiration, man, in my field. Because ever since we clicked up on Southern University campus, man, you always was progressing, man, and always when it came down to business, you were always locked in, and I always admired you for that, bro.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, man. But I wanted you to come on today, man. I know we are in primetime tax season, so I want you to get into that for our listeners and give them some advice on how to file their taxes, or doing it the right way, or getting the right professional to do that. But also we're gonna pick your brain a little bit on all the knowledge you have on finances in general, because you are a CPA, correct?
Yes, it's correct.
And CPA stands for,
Certified public accountant.
so you deal with a lot of money.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, man. But just kind of just add a little bit more information about myself and everything for the listeners out there. So yeah, so like my brother Corey said, my name's Joe Robbins. I'm a native of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Still
Wow.
residing here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. 2009 graduate of Scotlandville Magna High School, and a 2014 graduate of the College of Business at Southern University. I graduated cum laude and chief marshal of the College of Business with a bachelor's in accounting and a bachelor's of science in accounting and a bachelor's of science in finance. And so after I graduated in 2014, I began working at a public accounting firm here in Baton Rouge, and worked there for a couple of years as a staff auditor. So I was working in the field of audit and assurance services. Worked with various clients in fields of governmental accounting, nonprofit accounting, for-profit banking, financial institutions, and just a whole a plethora of various industries and everything. So while I was there, I was able to attain my pass all 4 sections of the Certified Public Accounting examination, and I attained my CPA license in 2015. I was at the age I was 24 years old, and so I've been a licensed CPA for the past 5 years. In 2017, I decided to branch out and start my own practice, which is a J. Robbins CPA, in which we focus on tax preparation, tax planning, small business consultation, general business consultations, financial planning, and just a wealth of knowledge and information. In conjunction with my CPA practice, I'm also a registered financial advisor with Equitable Advisors, where I'm a FINRA Series 6 license, FINRA Series 7 license, and a life and health insurance license as well. So in that realm, I assist clients with proper wealth management, life insurance planning, financial planning, investment planning, estate planning, just whole uh, basket of things or whatever. So kind of like a I wouldn't say like a one-stop shop for financial services, but just a wealth of knowledge and information and everything like that. I also work with my partner, Mr. Ricky Johnson, who's been in the industry for 30 plus years as well. And so, through this partnership, we're able to assist our clients with proper tax and financial guidance, across generations, whether it be, retirees or people are who just enter in the workforce, or people who've been in the workforce and, are just trying to create some better habits to position them to be better financially and, providing for just a better holistic lifestyle. So, just kind of want to touch on that for a little minute or whatever, everything, and to kind of dive into the conversation. The reason why I wanted to say all that is because, especially in this age right now, in this social media age where it's so much information being put out there, so many people, just out there like just giving information and everything like that, and it's kind of gotten to the point where it's non-reputable people who are trying to lead people to do certain things. It's like now I remember growing up or whatever and everything, it was kind of like, if somebody was on the news or somebody was on the news in the newspaper or something like that, or on the radio, like they were an important person, like they were intelligent, they had something to say, they had good information to say. Well, now in the realm of social media, it kind of, and it's not, it's good and bad, it gives everybody a voice, but at the same time it gives everybody a voice.
Right.
And so
I think they're an expert.
exactly. So, you have a lot of people who are out there, like giving advice, or what I'm saying, or like trying leading people astray, who are not licensed, who are not, educated at all, or whatever, just really just got a following, went viral, whatever, and people feel like, oh, because they have a lot of followers, or because they have a strong following, that they know what they talking about. But in actuality, they're giving a lot of misinformation out there. So, I'm appreciative of Corey, you invited me on the podcast today to kind of, dispel some of those things that are out there, and, kind of help the listeners who are on, if I can or whatever and everything like that, help them to be able to navigate throughout their financial journey.
Now, how important is it to have not only somebody that's knowledgeable or in financing, but the right person for you?
Yeah, so it's very important to be working with somebody who, you can share, ideals with, somebody who your visions align, their vision for their life and what they, have planned and everything, their practice and everything aligns with the vision that you have for, your life and everything like that, because that's gonna help you to make sound financial decisions. Biggest thing, and now just trying to touch on, because it is tax season and everything, especially in the black community or whatever, we look at like taxes as being like a hustle.
Right.
We look at it as like, oh, I'm going to the person whoever could get me the most back. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm going to the person whoever going to, allow me to do whatever on my tax return, and make sure I don't get caught by the IRS, and all this different type of stuff. And so, but when we actually look at the context of, like what a tax refund is, a refund is just basically a refund of what you overpaid in taxes. So now there are certain credits that are what they call refundable tax credits, such as the earned income credit and the child tax credit, and and certain education credits that can actually, put money in your pocket even if you don't have any taxable income. But it's not very many who are eligible for those credits. And so, I spend a lot of time fighting with clients, just explaining to them, when you should be doing your tax returns, you really should be looking for somebody who's legal, who's ethical, and who's accurate. The accuracy is your tax return. I come across people so many times, they went to this fly by night tax service or whatever, or call them, these unscrupulous tax professionals, quote unquote. And they get them back these refunds, or they get them back, like all this stuff or whatever and everything. And then 2-3 years later down the line, they running into issues with the IRS because they didn't review the tax return, and the person who did it for them, they can't find them. And
Right.
so, it's like, not only that, but it's for a lot of people, what I realize is, everybody has their niche. Everybody has, like their talent or their skill that they know how to do, whether that be, me as an accountant, as a CPA, you as a dog breeder and things like that. Athletes, engineers, lawyers, everything like that. So it's like, doctors, like, so it's like, if you if I break my leg, I'm not gonna come to Corey, you know what I'm saying, to help me repair my leg. You know what I mean? Like
Right,
like
right,
I'm gonna go to a doctor, I'm gonna go get professional sound advice. And so, in the realm of taxes and financial planning, it's become so saturated to where, a lot of people think, like, oh, I could do this myself. And in some instances, you can, it's in regards to the filing and everything. But what you're missing out on, what a lot of people don't realize, what they're missing out on is that, you know, for most people, that's their one time during the year that they have the opportunity to go and talk to a professional about their finances. Like many people, they're not having a conversation with themselves or with their families or their spouse or whoever, about their finances and what that outlook looks like. And so when you do, rush and just try to go to somebody who, can just get your return prepared fast and, like get you whatever, back and stuff like that or whatever, and, you don't have no inkling as to what was prepared on your return. Well, now you just missed out on the opportunity to
right.
sit with somebody and to help position you to be better, financially. So, and you do that for 3, 4, 5 years, and now you looking back and you like 5 years down the line, like, dang, I wish I would have did this 5 years ago. When you finally do sit down with somebody, or somebody who can direct you in the right path. And so, one thing we offer with my services, every in-person like tax appointment or whatever, so we're offering financial planning and tax guidance. Like even I've had college students come in from when we first got started, who graduated and used the things that we taught them or whatever, things that I've taught them when we discussed in their careers now or whatever stuff, and they're seeing like the benefits of it. And a lot of times, we look for these like popcorn results. We look for like, oh, I'm gonna do this today, and then a week from now I'm gonna be rich. You know what I mean? And it doesn't work like that. It's like creating like sound habits that like position you to be better financially. You get what I mean?
Yeah,
So working with somebody who understands that, somebody who's not gonna come, and especially with CPAs, like, everybody looks at like a CPA like, oh, this is about to be some guy with glasses sitting behind a desk and he about to tell me a whole bunch of stuff that I have no clue what he's talking about, and I'm just signing some forms and that's gonna be it. Like, nah, you should that's not a good relationship. You
right,
should definitely be working with somebody who can break stuff down to where you can understand it. Now we're not trying to make you be an accountant or be a CPA or anything, but you do need to have some general understanding of what's being reported on your return, like what you're actually filing. Because in the event, and Corey, you and I have always had these types of conversations, and offline and everything, in any event, nobody knows what tomorrow has promised, like, so I could die, you know what I'm saying, like today, and so I would be doing my clients a disservice if, from what they learn with me or whatever stuff, when they're going and seeking another accountant or another CPA or financial advisor, to where they don't have any clue about what we were doing, like, so you have a general understanding of like everything that we do, in regards to like your accounts and your business and stuff like that. So if something were to happen to me, you kind of like, all right, I know some stuff I need to look for, I know some keywords that this person needs to be saying to make sure that like we align and I can do business with them. You get what I'm
right.
saying?
So it's important to develop that relationship versus just contacting you maybe once a year when it comes to tax season. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and I mean, I do have clients who I hear from once a year, and everything. But like I say, for a lot of people, that's just an area in their life that they're not consistently thinking about. Um, and that's perfectly fine. We the media and everything like that kind of centers everything around like money, money, money these days. Like how much money you can make, like who got the most money and everything like that. But that's, when you talk about like life in general, that's not really the like what gives you like true happiness. You know what I'm saying? Like fulfilling, working towards your purpose or working towards your vision. Like that's what's really going to give you, like true happiness and stuff like that. So, people who are, they probably satisfied on their jobs. They contributing to a retirement plan and stuff like that. Families intact, health is good. They might got some civic organizations that they're doing some community work with, stuff like that. And like the old women who sit on the boards and stuff at the churches and everything like that, like they love that stuff. That's what gives them fulfillment. So,
Right.
you know, them just seeing me once a year or whatever and stuff, and just kind of doing a high level overview of everything, you know, they're satisfied with that. Could they be doing more? Yes. Are they like, do they, does it really matter if they do more or not? You know, will that contribute to their happiness? You know, that's a question for them. And so if they feel like they do want to do more or whatever, you know, they do want to, you know, have a more complex, you know, like financial situation or whatever, then, you know, they probably meet with me a little bit more often during the year. But some people, they just want to keep it simple, and it's perfectly fine. It's nothing wrong with that.
Is it challenging to kind of get that point across and to educate clients or someone who may be interested in being a client of yours?
Yeah, it's very challenging. You know, I've sat with clients sometimes, and you know, I do their return, and I'll be like, okay, well, you know, this is how much you're getting back, or this is how much, you know, you owe or whatever and stuff like that. And you know, some newer clients will be like, well, man, you know, I did my return, you know what I'm saying? Such and such did my returns before. And, you know, it was way higher than this. Well, you know, such and such did my returns before, and, you know, I ain't owe this much or whatever, you know. And for me, I'll be like, okay, well, you know, do you have a copy of your previous year return? And some of them be like, well, no, they never gave me a copy. That's strike one. Like, I
Right.
mean, as a paid tax preparer, as a paid tax preparer, they should give everybody a signed copy that they signed, a signed copy of their tax return. You know, and so if your preparer isn't giving you a copy of your return, I mean, that should raise a red flag for you right there. Or if your return isn't readily available, that should raise a red flag. So, you know, because another rule is that as a paid preparer, we are mandated to keep your returns for 7 years. So, you know, any client, I've been in business for going on 4 years now, so I got a copy of every return that I've done, you know, like since inception.
Right.
So you know, so and then, you know, sometimes I come across ones who do have copies of their return. And so we go through and review their return, and I'm looking at them like, hey man, you know, true stories. I was like, hey, did you have a business last year? And they're like, a business? No, I had no business. And they're like, oh, I'm like, well, they filed you as a loss on your business or whatever stuff to reduce your taxable income in order to make you get that big refund that you got. I'm like, you know, this could be a flag to the IRS or whatever. You know, they come and review your return and ask you, you know, to produce business information. You could get in trouble and have to pay this money back. You know, or I've run into clients who had like uh other children, like children placed on their return that they didn't know anything about, or you know, certain deductions and stuff that they didn't know anything about. And so I'm like, you know, did you ever sit down and review your return with your tax preparer? And they like, hey, well, no, you know, I just they just sent me what I was getting back, and you know, and I paid them, and that was it. And I'm like, man, you know, at the bottom of that return, I'll read you. Let me see if I could pull one up real quick. Uh, 1 second. One second. Because I don't want to misquote anything. Yeah, here's one. Shoot. 1 second, Corey.
Oh,
Come
you good, bro?
on. Okay, there we go. Come on, now. Computer run. I got a lot of tabs open. My computer running a little slower than normal. Okay, here we go. Come on, come on. All right. Okay, finally. All right. Yeah. So at the bottom of the return, it reads. Shoot, I'm not at the bottom of the return.
Take your time, bro. You good?
All right, sorry. Okay, here we go. Yeah, at the bottom of the return, it reads, under penalties of perjury, I declare that I have examined this return and accompanying schedules and statements, and to the best of my knowledge and belief, they are true, correct, and complete. Declaration of preparer, other than the tax preparer, is based on all information of which preparer has any knowledge. So when you sign that return, you attesting that everything that you put on that's on the return is correct, like, or that you reviewed it, you've examined it, and everything like that. So in the event if the IRS was to, you know, pursue like your review your return and, you know, see like what was all on it, and they got that signature, like, well, you know, you signed off on it, so you know it's really kind of your fault,
Right.
you know. So those are just, you know, some things like, you know, you want to when you're working with somebody like it's definitely, it's important, to work with somebody who's ethical, and accurate, man.
Yeah, and to put it in layman's terms, for all y'all people who out there claiming other people kids and all this stuff, you better be careful because they'll come get you and they don't care because I know
Yeah.
y'all seen plenty of celebrities and people who make money. They don't care. They send them to
Mhm.
send them to federal penitentiary. So I mean,
Yeah,
y'all,
I've seen it. I've seen clients get letters from the IRS, and like they're like, "Hey, you need to prove this child is yours," and they like, "Man, I don't know. I just bought somebody's social security number," and I'm like, "What?"
man,
and then now they can't come up with the information, and so like in that year in which they claim that child, they got back $2,000, $3,000 or whatever. But now they got to pay it all back plus interest and penalties from the date in which the return was filed. So
man,
you got back 3,000, but years later you end up paying 5,500,
yeah.
or more, and then that, and you get in trouble with the IRS. So it's like, kind of, is it really even worth it?
Like your boy said on Set It Off, there's three people that I don't mess with: the I,
The I, the
the
R, or the S.
S, because they don't play.
Exactly.
Man, but kind of getting away from the taxes. How would one with a small business prepare for this time of the year? Like what would be some key points that someone can follow throughout the year in order to prepare for filing the tax season? Like
Gotcha. So, oh,
people
go ahead.
keep receipts and have people signing off on things like that. What are some things you recommend that a business owner should do?
So, yeah, so that's definitely a good question. Because it's something we run into as well. So business owners, you should definitely be keeping up with the operations of your business, on an ongoing basis, and that can look, and basically having some form of accounting structure, and that can be anything you want it to be, as long as you can keep up with it. That can be having something that's having a QuickBooks account where you're inputting your transactions into there. It can be something as far as having an Excel spreadsheet where you're inputting stuff through there. It could be you with a piece of paper, what I'm saying, pen and pad or whatever, like old school, but you're keeping track of your information on how much you're spending, and how much you're making. For business owners, you definitely should have a business banking account, no matter how big or how small your business is. Having a business banking account. I mean, if anything, like this pandemic taught us, with the SBA rolling out the relief for the small businesses and everything. One of the things that they were requesting to justify that you were actually operating a business was a business bank account, with the business name on it. And so, many, especially self-employed people, sole proprietors, they were just operating their business stuff out of their personal accounts. And so when it came to filing for, the loans or whatever, the relief and assistance and everything, they were running into a whole bunch of issues, as opposed to people who had a standard business account. They were able to get through a lot faster. So having that business account, or and when it comes to keeping receipts and stuff, so clients would come into my office or whatever and stuff, and they like, I got all my receipts and everything like that. I tell them, like, I don't need your receipts. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, large purchases and stuff like that, I could, review them, and things like that, just so I, as a professional, can gain some comfortability, in regard to what's being reported. But for clients who I know are keeping up with their accounting records and things like that, especially the ones that we have connected to QuickBooks, that we are doing their accounting records and stuff, I can just run a profit and loss statement, and I can prepare the return based on that profit and loss statement. Some other things, about car vehicle purchases or anything, some more complex things, may require a bit more information, but at the bare minimum, having a profit and loss statement. And not just having that profit and loss statement at the end of when it's time to file your taxes, because when you might have made a whole bunch of money during the year, and not had a lot of expenses and stuff, so your net profit is very high.
right.
So when you go to file your tax return, you're like, man, I owe a whole bunch of taxes or whatever and stuff, like what can I do? Well, at that point, it's after December 31st, so it's not too many options that you have in order to mitigate your tax liability. So, it's really on you to be keeping track of, how your business performing during the year, to see as the year comes to a close, like, okay, do we need to start putting some money to the side to, pay the upcoming tax liability? Do we want to go ahead and invest in, new products or new inventory or new, assets of the business or whatever, so we can have write-offs for the business? One thing for me that I used to do in order to, capture deductions prior to bless you, prior to tax season was I pay for, like, I knew I was going to be advertising for tax season. Like, I knew I was going to need like flyers and designs made and stuff like that or whatever stuff. So I would pay for that stuff before in December, because I knew I was going to need it in January and February or whatever stuff to advertise for, my practice. And so that way now I can claim that expense because it happened in the prior year on the tax return that I'm filing in the year after. And so, it, like, keeping up with that stuff helps you to navigate like how your business, one, is performing on a year to date, month to month, quarter to date basis, like, because you can analyze and see, okay, these are the hot months for our business. These are the cold months for our business. These are the months in which we might want to stack up a little bit more inventory and stuff like that. For instance, like a barber, he knows that during, back to school or whatever stuff, it's about to be hectic, like that's a big month for him or whatever, everything like that. But he also knows that, it might be, or I change, because barbers are kind of always in business. Let's say, somebody who owns a lawn care business, they know the summertime is going to be a hot month for them. Like, they know there's going to be a good couple months or whatever, everything. During the wintertime, they're not cutting as many grass and as much grass and stuff like that because the grass not growing. So they need to find other ways in which to, continue to produce revenue for their business. And so, and also maybe cut back costs or whatever stuff, so they're not having a loss on each month. It just really helps you to scale your business and see how you're really going to grow and perform. But like I said, from a tax standpoint, keeping up with your business, having that business bank account, keeping up with your net profit and loss on a month-to-month basis or whatever thing, like, those two things I can say are like instrumental to the growth and success of your business and overall, your whole tax planning strategy too.
Right. Now, taking a step back from everything that you just said, somebody that's listening right now that is, trying to make the decision on if they're gonna, open up their own business, whether it be some type of invention or, they have an idea. What would you tell that person how to get started on the process of opening their business?
Okay, so I'll give you insight on, like, how I got started. So I kind of actually just fell into, like, the whole tax preparation, like opening a CPA firm. So when I initially, like I said, when I initially left my previous employer, I was starting with Equitable. And so with my employment with Equitable, it's a full commission, like, financial advisory practice. So I was like, all right, I need some other, supplemental income or whatever stuff as things kind of get going and everything like that. So, for me, people kept asking me, like, oh, well, you a CPA, do you do taxes? You a CPA, you do taxes? And at the time, I mean, I did my taxes and, my family and stuff like that. But I was like, okay, well, this could be some supplemental income. So let me, get this started. So I educated myself more, took like a 60-hour course on, tax preparation and stuff, because I learned it while studying for the exam. But, I just wanted to, increase my expertise a bit more. And so, I started doing them, and then it just kind of caught on about like wildfire. Like, it just, like, people just started coming to me. And I'd say it's probably most notably because of me having a CPA license. But as far as like getting up and rolling, getting structured, definitely I went and got my LLC with the Louisiana Secretary of State, got my EIN number, got my business banking account, those foundational things. Those are three foundational things you want to just off the back, make sure you get those taken care of. For me, I was fortunate enough that I maintained my credit, like, while I was in college and while I was employed and everything. So when I opened my business bank account, the business owner asked me, I mean, not the business owner, the banker asked me if I was interested in a business credit card. So I was like, well, yeah, I got pretty good credit and stuff like that. Let's go for it. So she ran my credit and everything like that. They did the application for the card, and she was like, "Yeah, you approved. It has a limit of like $7,500." So I was like, "Oh snap!" So she said, "It's a limit of $7,500 and it's 12 months, no interest." So I was like, "Oh, so y'all basically gonna like give me a loan for $7,500 and not charge me no interest for 12 months?" I was like, "Okay, that's cool." So with that, the one of the biggest things that hinders like small business owners and new businesses is access to capital,
Mm.
access to things to help them grow their business. A lot of them run into like, man, if I just had this much money, this more money, I could go do this, or we could buy this new equipment, or we could do this new advertising, or we could, hire this new employee and stuff like that. And so it gets to the point where they can't do those things until they make the money. So that delays their business growth. So for me, I actually started my business after tax season was over with. So I ain't had no clients, but I knew if I didn't advertise and stuff prior to the next tax season, that I still wouldn't have no clients. So I utilized, that card to buy, my different softwares, to get my logo made, to get my different advertising made, like basically leveraging that debt in order to that, or that line of credit, in order to produce a stream of income. So that's definitely what one thing that I could say, a big thing that I would say, have structured in place before you jump in the business, especially if you like just jumping out there fully, with no other source of income, having something that you can fall back on in order that you're not just leveraging for your personal expenses, but you can leverage the business off of as well. Um, like that's a huge thing. And a big thing too is you want to get this stuff before you like for those of you listening, you thinking about, oh, I might just quit my job. Like, get it before you quit your job, because they're gonna ask for like proof of income. They're gonna ask for like check stubs or W-2s or something like that. They want to see that, because for the banks is basically, we just want to make sure that you could pay us back.
Right.
And so, they want to see that. And so, once you have this stuff, unless you max it out and you're not paying it, or, you just mismanage the funds and things like that, then, you have it. So, and I could say like, it's just been very useful for me as I've continued to grow my business and everything. Cause it literally started like in the trenches, like, what I'm saying? Like this is from the ground up. And so, having that access to capital, allowed me to do different things. My first year I spent a lot of money on advertising and stuff like that, Facebook, boosting posts on Facebook and Instagram, and, stuff like that. But what I realized too is that I didn't know how to do that stuff. So the following year, I one of my line brothers or whatever, who actually does work with Corey as well, uh he focuses on like digital advertising, digital marketing and stuff like that. And so, I started paying him a monthly retainer that I was floating on the business credit card, in order for him to structure my digital advertising website for me to get more clients. And so once he started doing it, I started getting more clients. And so had I not been able to, had that line of credit or had that access to that, I wouldn't have been able to, make that investment in order to produce more growth for my business. So getting like I said, the LLC, the EIN, the business bank account, trying to get access to a line of credit or some form of a resource that you can pull off of to help grow the business, is good. And lastly, having an accounting structure in place. Like I said earlier, QuickBooks, Excel, like pen and paper, just something to where you can keep track of what you're spending and what you're making, because you don't want to go get to the end of the year and you're getting ready to file your taxes and stuff, and you're like, yeah, man, I made like $40,000, and then once you add up all the expenses, you're like, spent $60,000, and this was a loss that you didn't really account for, or you done made $40,000 or something, or more. I'm just throwing numbers out there. You done made this money, but you didn't have a lot of expenses, and now you have this big tax bill.
Right.
So those key things, and I said that was last thing, but I guess this is my last one. Working with a professional, like working with somebody who knows business, who knows finances, like people who are licensed, or that you can identify with, who can guide and direct you. It's just like because either you're gonna pay their consultation fees or whatever and stuff to like keep you out the doghouse or whatever and everything. So it's either you're gonna pay for it now, or you're gonna pay more for it later. You know what I mean? So and getting that sound and getting that good advice or whatever to help you get out get done. Because we pay so much for like entertainment and stuff like that, but you gotta invest in your business. You gotta invest in your business. You gotta invest in yourself.
I don't want to overload the listeners with all this information that you're giving, but I want you to hit on the proper way of building credit, and then after that, then we'll have to get you back on, man, because we could sit here all day, and this might turn into a whole
Yeah.
webinar. But want you to talk about the proper way of building your credit.
Okay. So I'll set this disclaimer first. I am not a credit expert. So
Yeah,
I am not a credit repair guru. I'm not that. I can only speak on it in regards to like my own personal experiences and what I've the information that I've learned in regards to credit and stuff like that. I mean, I have pretty good credit, and I've helped some people like improve their credit and everything. But I'm not gonna say that I'm an expert or anything like that. But for me, I guess my credit journey really started when I was in college, and so I had
that's
the
where a lot of
opportunity to
people mess
study
up.
abroad. Yeah, that is definitely where a lot of people mess up. And so I had the opportunity to study abroad in London, England. And so while when I went over there, before I went over there, I was like, man, I need to get like a credit card or something just in case I run into some trouble or I run out of money or whatever and stuff like that. Just for emergency purposes, which is what a lot of people do. And so I got it. Fortunately, I was able to not have to like dip into it for like emergency purposes. Like everything was covered. I was good while I was over there. So I actually ended up buying some Kobe's with it. But that which but I will say, it was an investment because the Kobe's, I was in Barcelona at the time, and they only came out in Barcelona. They did not come out in the US. And
Yeah,
so and I still have them to this day. So and rest in peace to the Black Mamba. But anyway, so when I got back, of course I started back working again. I paid the card off and everything. But through conversations, I was working at Apple at the time. Conversations with my coworkers, they started telling me about like credit and stuff like that or whatever. And at this point, I mean, I had no idea about this stuff or whatever. So I started doing my own research on it and like what it meant, like how to build it and everything like that. And so I would say for me, building my credit to a good point or whatever thing really started with that credit card, like getting that credit card. Because a lot of people are taught like, oh, don't get credit cards, they're bad, they're gonna mess up your credit, don't get no credit cards, you know what I'm saying, you don't need them, blah 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 blah, and everything like that. But it's not having the credit cards, it's the abuse of credit cards which creates the problem. So
hmm
when you're out there, and you don't have the money to pay for stuff or whatever and everything, and the money's not coming in, and you're still buying stuff, you're paying for clothes and jewelry and shoes and trips and stuff like that or whatever, just to, I guess, like keep up appearance and stuff, a whole bunch of frivolous spending. That's when you see people run into, like all this credit card debt. And that's what, ruins their credit, honestly. But if you treat your cards the right way, you can actually turn your cards into like an asset. And so, I learned this early on. So what I started doing was I would buy, I was working, I had a part-time job. So I would buy like my gas, I would buy like my things that I needed to pay or whatever, like things that I had to pay, I would put it on my credit card. One, because it was helping me build my credit, but then two, I would also get reward points for the money that I was spending on the card. So for every dollar I spent, I would get a point. And so I basically get 1 cent for every dollar, and my limit was like $500. So I wasn't getting very many points or whatever and stuff like that because the limit was so low. But it was a good start. And so as I continued to, responsibly use the card and everything, they started raising my limit. Like I didn't have to ask for them. They just consistently started, like building it up. So at that point, I started paying my bills with the card, because at the time it was myself, my brother Corey, and one of our other friends staying together. And so the bills were in my name. So I would pay all the bills with the card, and then everybody at the end of the month when it was time to pay rent and stuff like that, I just pay the card off. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm knowing like these this money is coming in or whatever and stuff. Like everybody was financially stable and able to pay, those expenses. So, from that one card, I got that one card, and then, I was responsible with it and everything like that. And then the following year, I applied and got another credit card, not any of those like consumer credit cards like a Sears or a Macy's or something like that, but like a bank credit card. And if you can, try to get one that's like unsecured, because that shows that the bank is trusting that based on your credit history that we're going to give you this line or whatever, and trust that you're going to do right with it and pay us back. And so, I use that card or whatever and stuff. And so, and the trick that I would use too is that once a card, you want to try to get a credit card that has no annual fees and has and gives you reward points and has like a no interest period. So that no interest period could range between 12, 15, sometimes 18 months, depending on the card. And so what I do is I get a new card that had a no interest period or whatever stuff, and I use that card for everything during the no interest period. And so like every single thing, and I would build up the reward points on the card. So now I'm not getting charged interest on the card. I'm building up reward points. So now this card is low key becoming an asset for me because it's generating money for me. And then by the time when the no interest period was over, I would pay the card off, but I would keep it open. Do not close it out. Don't close it out. But I would keep it open, and I would get another card. So with another interest period. So I did this for about 4 years. Like I got a total of like 4 credit cards. And so, the other cards, as you don't use them anymore, like I say, still keep them open, but you sparingly use them. The credit card companies, I guess they get jealous or something like that. They started raising my limit. They was like, look, we want you to come back to using our card or whatever and
Yeah.
stuff. So, I built up a significant amount of credit availability, and if you look at like Credit Karma and stuff like that, your credit availability is like 40% of your overall credit score, like how much credit you have access to. So, one that allows you to be able to, build reward points and stuff like that to, buy stuff that you want or whatever and stuff. 2, it helps build your credit. And then 3, it also gives you peace of mind. So, the average American family or whatever can't withstand a $600 like unexpected expense. So, that's why you see people, with like cars broken down in their yards for like numerous years or something like that, or like people, they're having trouble like paying expenses and stuff like that. Well, if you are diligent in like how you're managing your credit and stuff like that and everything, when an unexpected expense occurs, you have that line available to like get that taken care of. Because what happens is like, let's say for instance, if my car broke down, well now, and I can't get it fixed. Well, now I can't get to work. If I can't get to work, then now, I could potentially lose my job. So now I have no money coming in. Or, I have to go get a job that pays less than what I was making or whatever. So now it's taking me longer to, whether pay this credit card off or, pay my bills. And I get trapped inside of this debt cycle.
Right.
So, but if you have a resource to where you can, help you to manage against expenses, unexpected expenses and stuff like that, that you can gradually pay down. Granted, you might pay a little interest, here and there, whatever stuff, depending on, where you are in life and everything. Like for me, I'll say, when I started the business, man, I had no clients, so I was floating a lot of my personal expenses on my credit cards until business started ramping up. But then once business ramped up or whatever, business started being more consistent, clients started being more consistent, I was able to pay those cards off. And then and it like skyrocketed my credit score. But I had that vision in mind. I knew it wasn't frivolous spending. I was trying to build a practice. I was trying to build a stream of income. So I was, like I said, leveraging debt in order to create a stream of income. And that's ultimately what you want to use credit cards for, to create a stream of income. Or you don't want to just use them for everything all willy-nilly. And so, like I say, the credit cards were my starting point. Of course, like later on down the line, I bought a house. So that helped me, paying my bills on time, paying my mortgage on time. Another thing I say, guys, if you owe somebody money, pay them people their money. Because if they send it to collections, that will negatively impact your score a lot, especially if you are young. Because if you're in your 20s and you already got a derogatory mark, that's what they call it, you already got a derogatory mark on your credit report or something in collections, is basically showing like, dang, you're only 20 something years old and you're not responsible. So why would we give you more credit? Why would we help you out even more if you already not taking care of the stuff that you had previously? So yeah, so if you take out a loan or something like that, like make sure you pay them on time, and make sure, like, car notes and everything like that. Try not to file for bankruptcy. That's definitely something that can haunt you for a long time and hinder your growth and development. And then also try to stay away from these payday loan places and these cash advance places. They are scams. They are not good. I hate them. They charge you arm and a leg and interest. I would never recommend anybody to go to those places and stuff like that. I wish all of them were really burned down. And so, so, I would say, like, stay away from those, and like I say, try to get started as early as possible. I didn't really know about, like, credit and stuff like that or whatever until I was like 21 years old. I wish I would have known, when I was like 18 and stuff. But like I say, we're taught, like, oh, credit cards are bad and stuff like that. Like I say, it's not the credit cards that are bad. It's the abuse of credit cards that is bad. That's bad. So you got to be diligent. You got to be you just got to be responsible. And it's not going to happen overnight and everything. You can it's going to take some time, to build up and everything like that. But once you create those habits, and those responsibility, and you become responsible or whatever stuff, you see that credit won't be an issue for you, and it'll open up opportunities for you to do things like starting a business, or buying a house, or things like that.
Man, jewels on top of jewels, man. Uh, how can somebody get in contact with you if they have more questions about anything that you just touched on?
Yeah. Cool. So they can actually email me. They can email. There's three ways. They can email me at info at jrobinscpa.com. That's JROBINSCPA.com. Just shoot us an email or whatever stuff. Say you're interested in services and things like that. My client relationship specialist, she'll be sure to reach out to you. See what services you're interested in, and try to set up a consultation or something for you. If they can call our office directly at 225-650-7306. And client relationship specialist, she'll be there to answer the phone and, direct you into what you need to do. Once again, that's 225-650-7306. And then lastly, they can visit our website. That's probably the simplest way. It's www.jrobinscpa.com. We're in the process now. I got my website pretty cool, but I plan on getting somebody to update it and everything like that. Like I say, guys who are out there who are, thinking about starting a small business, or who are small business owners or whatever, I'm a small business owner as well, so, but I'm just trying to grow and develop and trying to touch as many lives and people that I can or whatever stuff with, good quality information. I consider myself to be a good person. I want to do business with good people. So, like I said, once again, I'll say, can hit us up in email, info at jrobinscpa.com, phone number 225-650-7306, or visit us online at www.jrobinscpa.com.
Man, we definitely appreciate you for your knowledge. We definitely have to get you back on, man, because finances, that can be a continuous conversation.
Yeah, a whole bunch.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
this is the Space City Rottweilers podcast, so we can't let you leave without giving us a little insight on anything dog related. If you grew up with dogs, what type of dog? What's your experience with dogs?
So I got two experiences with dogs, man. So I did grow up with dogs. My family, we had German Shepherds. We had two German Shepherds, one named Shadow, one named Steel. They passed away some time ago and everything like that. So I do have an affinity for German Shepherds. I plan on getting one. When my wife let me get one. Yeah, so that's that. And then lastly, I'm also a brother of the illustrious Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. So shout out to all the good brothers out there in Omega Cross Beta Sigma chapter at Southern University in spring 2013. So Corey know as where we stay, the dog house or whatever and everything, what we call the our rental home in college and everything like that. Had some good times there.
Indeed, my brother, indeed.
We look, and we like to joke with Corey. We call him like he our illegitimate line brother.
I'm the mutt of the crew.
But But yeah, man, yeah. So that's that. Once again, I appreciate you for inviting me on the podcast and everything like that. Hope everybody enjoyed the information and everything we talked about today. And if you're interested in getting some more information, don't hesitate to reach out. I do have, even though I'm based in Louisiana, I do have clients in the Texas area, Mississippi, Georgia, California, Florida, all across the country, New Jersey, all across the country. So like I say, as the pandemic showed us, it's various ways to connect with people: Zoom, conference calls, Microsoft Teams, and stuff like that. We just trying to get the word out. We can't stop. I mean, we got to stop, perpetuating this cycle of, irresponsible financial practices and things like that. And so what we're trying to do, we're trying to help people and trying to, position them to be better, financially, physically, emotionally, spiritually, or whatever, and stuff like that. A lot of times my clients, we dive into a whole bunch of stuff other than just finances and everything. So, if you some good people out there with them stuff, we'd be glad to have you on too.
We appreciate you, bro, for just giving that knowledge and just being a reliable source, man. If you are looking for a professional, hit my brother up, man. He'll take care of you. He take care of me, so I know he'll take care of y'all. I mean, y'all, go back and listen to everything that he said, sit down, think about it. And it's never too late to get yourself right and get your finances right. And, my brother here is the man to go to, man. Y'all watching this on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe. If y'all listen to us on the podcasting platforms, subscribe. And, Joe will be back. So y'all be looking for him to come back and give us some more jewels. Appreciate you, bro.
No problem, man. Holla at you later.
All right.